Hi, I'm Johnny Barch with Mindray North America Ultrasound, and I'm here today with Julie from Mint Medical, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of the Mindray TE7 ultrasound machine. As you can see, the machine is currently on. It took about 30 seconds from a cold boot up to come back on, or to start up rather. If we put the machine into a standby mode, it will only take 3 seconds to boot off and 3 seconds to come back up, which is remarkably fast. First, I'll show you patient information. When I press the patient information button, we'll see the patient demographic screen. Here you're able to touch each field if you'd like to input your information, or you can also use the tab key in order to go through each section for what you want to fill out. At this point, I'll touch one of the buttons there, and I'm able to then tab through and show you that I can put those in. We also have the ability to connect to a work list if you're set up to DICOM into a server. I'll press the Done button to show you how we come back to the imaging screen. The next step would be to select your transducer and the appropriate exam preset. You can see that we have the curvilinear C52S plugged in, as well as the linear L124S and their applicable exam presets. I'll go ahead and select carotid, and from here now we can start our exam. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll see that we can adjust our overall gain on the slider, and this is all touch enabled. The TE7 is a touch enabled slate, and I can decrease my gain and increase my gain, as well as adjusting my depth. And you can see that the centimeters of depth are there on the right side, just as you're used to with anything else. So 0, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And then I also have my ability over here to change some of my other parameters. You can see that we have iNeedle. That's our needle visualization software. And for a carotid, you wouldn't necessarily be injecting a carotid, but I'll show you how it would work. If I press the iNeedle button, you can see, and I'll just increase my gain here a little bit in order to see this separate beam that's been formed. We can steer our beam that's been created in order to match the angle of approach with how we're coming in with our needle. I will turn off iNeedle, and we'll come back to that later. Over here, we also have iTouch, which is our auto-optimize. When I press that, it auto-optimizes our beam mode. It'll also work for the other modes, which we'll talk about as we move forward as well. You still have the ability to control your overall gain here on the right side. If you'd like to turn off the iTouch, again, which is our auto-optimize, I will press and hold the iTouch, and it'll flash, and it'll be disabled. Okay? You still have, again, the ability to control your overall gain. Next, we have image quality. The IQ will allow you to change your frequency of your transducer. And we have 6 to 7 different settings depending on which transducer you're in. And you can see that with the H in front of the frequency, that will tell you that harmonics is on or you're in a fundamental frequency. I'll go ahead and deselect IQ and go to TGC, which stands for time gain compensation. This allows you to change your gain in one section of your image. So the top being the near field or the skin level, and you can go deeper down into your image, and I'll just increase these as we go deeper. If I don't touch the button again, the option will go away after about 6 or 7 seconds, or I can press the button and it'll go away as well. As you continue to look at the touch screen, you'll see that we have where we put in our patient information, where we selected our transducer with exam preset, and our iStation as our patient database or archive. We'll talk about that more as well, but I want to show you that in the initial setup. The review button allows you to review any images or cine loops that you've taken, and then your report page will show any of the measurements and comments that you'd like to have for each exam type. Let me go ahead and increase the gain a little bit more and show again the TGCs. These are all little things that you might change in the parameters of your imaging depending on your patient and what you're trying to accomplish. Up on the top of our image along the top panel, the status bar, you want to look at a couple of things. If I select these icons, this will show us where we're connected to an IP address for work list and sending to server, and you can choose a dynamic connection or a static. I'll go ahead and cancel out of here since we're, again, not connected. The other option is it shows your task management for when you're sending to DICOM or you're sending to a USB, other ways of exporting. And then we see if we're connected to Wi-Fi. The TE7 has built-in Wi-Fi, which is really nice. You have your battery icon. The TE7 has about 2 hours of battery time when you're unplugged, and it has a retractable power cord, which makes it really nice for getting around and not having to wind your cable up. As well as our setup menu. Here we're able to change our screen brightness and contrast, as well as do a few other things in terms of admin control. One of the things I want to point out right now is the screen lock. We need to be able to clean the slate. And so this has an auto screen lock for 10 seconds. So now I can take my cleansing cloth and wipe down my screen without worrying to change the parameters and things of that nature. And after 10 seconds it'll unlock and you can be on your way.
That's nice.
Other things that you can look at there in the setup menu is the ability to input your facility name as well as your address amongst the time and date and whichever region you're in, and then being able to change some of the other parameters that we'll discuss as we go through the rest of the tour of the TE7. When I'm ready to exit out of here, I'll go ahead and press either cancel or save. If you've made changes to this field, you want to make sure you press save. For now, I'll click cancel. And now we're ready to image again.
Great.